Hello everyone, Godzilla851 here, finally with my Godzilla King of the Monsters review. It's been a little bit since I've made a video, had some problems, but those are being taken care of, so yeah, here to finally talk about the film. I've seen it twice at the point of this recording. I hope to see it again, and this review is going to have both spoilers and non-spoilers. I'm going to go over non-spoilers first, then get into spoilers. But to sum it all up, I loved this movie. Beginning to end. All the way to the end. I loved this movie so much. In fact, I've told others, and I have no problem saying it here on the review, this is my new favorite Godzilla movie. Yes. It's not to disrespect the other Godzilla films. I think that's been a little lost in translation, me saying that. Some say that, oh, how could you say that about the original films in the Japanese version? Like, I'm not insulting those. Those films stand on their own, especially the original Godzilla. That stands on its own. Okay, that's like the cornerstone. That's the beginning. You can't top that. That's always going to be problem. Most likely, this might be the best film, both critically and emotionally for people. That's not what I'm saying. Now, this film, I could put this on at any time from what I've seen. And both times I saw it, I had the exact same reactions, that same emotional response to the movie. Okay? Where other Godzilla films, I'll just say 2014, there were a lot of parts of it I reacted one way when I first watched it, and then I watched it the second time, and I was just didn't really feel anything the second watch through. Now, I've come to, like the film, Godzilla 2014, but this movie is so much better. Beginning to end, so much better. So, let's first talk about the story. So, this takes place a few years after Godzilla 2014, and actually picks up, I think it was 5 years after it. Monarch is now a much bigger thing. Rather than Ken Watanabe, Dr. Serizawa, and his co-worker, his partner, they actually have an entire base, an entire place to go and do all their studying, and they pretty much follow around, well, as they call it, the Titans. But we'll get into that in the spoiler section. Okay, one of the main Titans they follow around, of course, is Godzilla. But once again, we'll get down. The acting in this movie is superb. I did not find a single actor in this film that I did not want to learn more about and actually watch on the screen. From the military, to the scientists, to the civilians, everyone played an awesome part, especially the bad guys. Which, with Charles Dance, you can't really go wrong, and that's not a spoiler. He's the bad guy. He's in all the trailers as the bad guy. So, yeah, and his little faction that he's running, but that's spoiler section. And this film takes on a couple of themes. Pain of loss and dealing with that loss. The messing with nature, which is a big staple of the Godzilla franchise. Don't screw with nature. There's a couple of Greek tragedies to this, and as well, stealing from the gods, and then trying to do things with the gods that they're just not meant to, and you're not supposed to either. It goes beyond your hubris as well, and, nothing but tragedy in the end. Which, spoilers, we'll get into that, don't worry. So, yeah, I got a lot more out of this film than, just giant monsters fighting each other. Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I'm looking right at you, you stinking rats. Okay, the music. The music is amazing. Okay, it has original music as well as big callbacks to Akira Ifukube, and it's just Now they released the CD and the MP3s of this, like on YouTube, stuff like that, on the Tuesday before the movie came out. I know there was a couple of tracks released, but I ignored them. So when I went into this film and I heard the music for the first time, it brought tears to my eyes. Legit tears to my eyes. I was flipping. When you hear certain songs with different characters and different emotional scenes, Mwah. Okay. The length of the movie, I believe it was 2 hours and some minutes. It felt like it was a breeze. I didn't feel like I was like glued to the seat and I couldn't leave. You know, it was just awesome. Awesome. Beginning to end. Awesome. What would I have changed about the film? I wish I was an extra in the movie. Okay, yeah. I wish I could have done the mocap for Godzilla, but the guy who did mocap for Godzilla was awesome, so yeah. That's pretty much it for the non-spoiler section. Once again, I love this movie. Before I get into the spoiler section, I really recommend everyone go out and watch this. I've seen it twice so far. I want to see it a third time, maybe even a fourth time. But, yeah. Seriously, go out to your theater, watch this movie. It is amazing. It is just so good. It's so good. And with that, let's get into the spoiler section. This is your spoiler warning for Godzilla King of the Monsters. You have been warned. Okay. Count 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Spoiler time. Okay. So, the movie begins with a family looking for a child during a rampage. The rampage of Godzilla versus the Mutos in San Francisco. Now, with the attacks in San Francisco, Monarch has grown, but so has the people's knowledge of these titans. Okay, which is, Godzilla, the Mutos, plus brand new titans that are introduced in this film, plus some familiar ones as well. And the government wants to either shut down Monarch altogether, or they want to turn it over to the military, where Admiral Stans from the first movie is one side, and Dr. Serizawa is on another side. Now, the mother of the couple and the daughter at the beginning of the film looking for their child, well, unfortunately, the child that they're looking for doesn't make it, and the family breaks up. Daughter goes with the mother, and they're, it's all cute. They're, having breakfast, talking about, the dad, oh, he's looking better. All of a sudden, the house starts to shake. They look out the window, and they're in China at a Monarch facility where they're looking after a Titan. Which Titan? They go inside, and it's Mothra. Yep, or Titanus mulcida, as they say. And, yeah, she is hatching. No matter what they're trying to do, she's just hatching. She wants out. And she comes out, seems peaceful at first, but then they put up the laser thing to hold her back. She gets mad. Dude has a taser. He wants to, tase. She's like, no, don't tase me. He tases her. All of a sudden, she starts spitting her web. Yes, they got that part in there. She starts spitting her web, putting them all against the wall. This other guy, she bites him, throws him up in the air, and it's, webbing against another web. It's awesome. Come to find out that they want to terminate Mothra because she's trying to break free. And they're like, oh, it's a protocol. We got to stop it. And the Dr. Mother, she's like, no, I have a plan. And she built this thing called the Orca. It emits a sound wave that will actually communicate with the Titans and actually calm them down. And she begins to do that. And it starts to work. It doesn't start to work. And then the daughter comes out. And eventually it starts working, and Mothra starts being all nice and cuddly and cute. The daughter puts her hand on the face. It's all nice and cute. Then, boom, explosion. In comes Charles Dance's character. And he starts shooting up the place with his, his evil guys. They're like rogue terrorists or something. They're doing something. And then he kidnaps the mother and daughter, along with the Orca. Come to find out, the Monarch, it's Serizawa and his assistant and other members of Monarch. Come to find out that he was kidnapped, so they find the father. I'm sorry, I don't remember the names. Okay, I'm blanking on names. All right, I'll put pictures and I'll put names all across the screen. I don't remember names. This is how I get through the review faster. So they go get him because he was actually, he was married to, the Dr. Mother, and then he actually helped build the prototype of the Orca, so he knows how to find it. Come back to Monarch. Their new base is actually an oil rig, which actually is a huge facility underwater. And they're talking about, all the Titans. Apparently, I believe the number was 17 and counting. Yes, 17 Titans. Number one, of course, is Godzilla. And they're looking after him, and the dad's like, no, you gotta kill him because he screwed up my life, and blah, blah, blah. And eventually, they do find Godzilla, and he's not acting right because deep, deep, deep at the South Pole, they have the Orca on because they want to wake up Monster Zero. Yes, they call it Monster Zero, so it's another callback to the original series, and they want to wake him up. They turn on the Orca and they begin, drilling to get him out from the ice. Eventually, they follow Godzilla's signal and they say, "Oh, he's going to the South Pole in Antarctica." What's Antarctica? It's Monster Zero. They all get down there. Monarch has a crack military team now, and they all go down there to save the day, save the stop Monster Zero from being reawoken. They get there, the big gunfight ensues, and then they have a chance to save the mother and daughter. The doctor, she doesn't want to be saved. She actually talks her daughter into coming back, and she picks up the remote control for the bombs, and she sets off the bombs to shatter the ice, and they proceed to escape, and they turn it on and wake up Monster Zero, or as we know as Ghidorah. Wakes up, and he's amazing. He's ferocious and amazing. They start shooting, the soldiers from Monarch start shooting Ghidorah. Nothing happens, and all of a sudden, Ghidorah fires his gravity beams and just fries them. And they just turn to ashes, pretty much. And then Ghidorah actually, starts trying to eat the ashes. Wow. And things seem grim, because Ghidorah emits electricity, so he's frying all the electricity in the air. They can't get away on the helicopter. Things are going bad. All of a sudden, the ice starts to, bright blue. Underneath the ice, Godzilla breaks through the ice. And we get that scene from the trailer where Godzilla's on one side and Ghidorah's on the other. They fight in Antarctica. Something I've wanted for the longest time. I always love Godzilla in the weather. Okay, I love seeing him fight, in snow, in rain, and seeing him fight just in different, elements. I love that. And they fight, and it's an awesome fight. But Ghidorah gets the upper hand and actually escapes the area as Godzilla gives chase. And Ghidorah actually escapes into a tropical storm. And then they get to the bad guys. They get to Mexico. And at Mexico, they find another Titan. Titanus Radon, or as I call him, Rodan, the fire demon. And they set it free. And out of the volcano comes Rodan. And he has a little bit of the Showa and the Heisei. And Rodan has the burning wings, just looking awesome. And they try to, take him out. The Monarch actually gets there. But once Rodan is actually awoken, the storm where Ghidorah, was, lost, actually turns course. It actually starts heading towards Rodan. Ghidorah actually can create a storm. Yes, that's right. He can create a storm, to surround him. It just, you know what I mean? So they lure Rodan away from, Monarch lures Rodan away from Mexico out to the ocean to fight Ghidorah. And they fight for a little bit. Ghidorah is, twice the size of Rodan, and actually throws him like like he's nothing away. As they see the transport ship that Monarch is in, looks like a Star Destroyer, and Ghidorah's coming. You got something bad, something's happening, and all of a sudden, Godzilla comes out of the ocean, grabs Ghidorah, drags him underwater. Those two are fighting, as Admiral Stan says, Dr. Serizawa, you need to get your people out of there and get to a safe distance because we've developed a new weapon. It's called the Oxygen Destroyer. Yeah. Built an Oxygen Destroyer. I hate the Oxygen Destroyer, but that is an awesome callback. So, they fire the Oxygen Destroyer. Rodan gets away before it goes off. It goes off underwater with Godzilla and Ghidorah underwater. Ghidorah is fighting with Godzilla. Godzilla actually rips one of Ghidorah's heads off. So it's like, oh wow, he ripped a head off. You know, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, you know, that pretty much it died afterwards. After that happened, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? Well, Ghidorah gets away as the bomb goes off. Big green cloud comes, and they lose Godzilla's signal. And they say Godzilla is dead. Very bold of a movie called Godzilla King of the Monsters to kill Godzilla off right in the middle of the movie. Just, whew. So, Ghidorah actually flies back to Mexico and goes to the volcano top where Rodan was and begins emitting this sound. But before that happens, Ghidorah actually regrows the head that was ripped off. So it's more of a Hydra dragon now rather than just a regular dragon. So it begins its roar. All of a sudden, all around the world, titans start waking up. One, I believe, is in Arizona, and it's a giant spider coming out of an oil field. Another place, a giant woolly mammoth that kind of looks like King Kong a little bit. And, well, the woolly mammoth's head, just, okay. Then there's this mountain, kind of looks like a Summit Kaiju, actually breaking free, and then all these monsters begin terrorizing because they're all hearing Ghidorah's roar. They're all accepting that as the new alpha because Godzilla is dead at this point. So the race comes on to what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? As Mothra actually did get away from the holding area and has cocooned herself. And one of the scientists that actually works with Sarazan, one of the new scientists, is this young Asian lady, very pretty. She kind of looks like Miki Sagusa from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, but at the waterfall in China where Mothra put herself, this African-American scientist shows up, played by the guy who's Dyson from Terminator 2. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'm sorry. It's the same guy from Kong Skull Island. Oh yeah, those two? Yeah, it's the same guy. Look it up. I saw it on IMDb. We have another young Asian scientist as well. Looks exactly like the other Asian scientist, but she has a long braid that comes over her shoulder, kind of like the cosmos, as Mothra awakens, spreads her wings, and just, they're playing the Mothra music. It's just, my heart couldn't take it, the first time I watched it. I actually felt like I was going to pass out. It sounds really goofy, I know, but still, just amazing. And then, the father, back to the Monarch Station, the father, he wants to go find his his ex-wife and daughter, because it's all he has. All of a sudden, the sky opens up. This is a huge rainstorm now. The sky opens up, and Mothra arrives, and she's pretty much in her rainbow sense. Big, bright light. She's like an angel showing up. She's calling to something. What is she calling for? She is actually calling for Godzilla. And it's even said in the movie that Godzilla and Mothra kind of have a thing. What really that means is they have a symbiotic relationship. Godzilla's the muscle, she's kind of the brains. They kind of, work together. So, but it's kind of implied that they're boyfriend, girlfriend. That's cute. Let's move on. And they're trying to, figure out what she's calling for. She's calling for Godzilla. They listen really hard, and they pick up a response. Godzilla is not dead. So they feel that they have to give him kind of an extra boost to, come back into the fight. So they're going to launch a nuclear warhead at Godzilla. So they get in a sub, they go underwater, and all of a sudden they get sucked into this large cavern. And they end up 600 miles away from the original start point. Remember in Kong Skull Island, they were talking about the hollow core? How, the earth underneath, it's just pretty much all hollow. Well, that's how Godzilla gets around in the movie. You're probably wondering, how did Godzilla get from Antarctica to Mexico in like a day? That should have taken him at least 3 or 4 days, maybe even 5. Because the hollow earth, swim into that, and it's pretty much like a wormhole and it spits you out at a different end. And that's how he gets around really quickly. So they follow it, and they come to a massive underwater temple. A temple worshipping the Titans. Godzilla, Mothra. I think I saw a couple of pictures of, no, there was a picture of Ghidorah under there, Rodan. And they can't go any further because there's a massive amount of radiation. So the drones go in and they find Godzilla, knocked out, laying next to a radioactive pool, trying to regain his energy. So one of the new breakout characters in this movie, you might remember seeing him from Billy Madison, but this was one guy, very funny and really cool at the same time. He's like, yo, he's got this. Just let him have a little power nap, and then he'll come back good as new. Well, the regeneration might take years. They don't have time for that, so they want to launch the nuke right at him. Of course, the weapon system is damaged because they went through the hollow core. So, out of a very sad but wonderful callback to the original Gojira, Dr. Serizawa actually takes the nuke and walks it to Godzilla, even though it's a massive amount of heat and massive amount of radiation. He walks the nuke to Godzilla and sets it off. Big callback to the end of Gojira, where he sacrifices himself, with the oxygen destroyer. Well, he sacrifices himself with the nuke so Godzilla could live. It's the opposite, but also a big callback as well. Just awesome. Unfortunately, Dr. Serizawa dies. Ken Watanabe, you were awesome. I would have loved to have seen you come back for a third film, but you're kind of dead in this movie, so, Unless they bring you back as like a robot or as an AI or something, but, Okay, so they actually get away just in time the bomb goes off, and they come back out where they once were. All of a sudden, the ocean starts to foam, and they start playing the Godzilla theme. Very subtly, very slowly, and then Godzilla starts to rise out of the water, and then the music starts picking up even more, and then Godzilla, he looks a lot bigger now, and actually breathes fire up into the sky, just like he kind of did in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in 1991. He breathed fire into the air, but he actually woke up from the nuke and was a lot bigger. You see, it's another callback. You see? And then King Ghidorah is, doing his thing, and then the daughter actually is hearing her mother talk about, how this wasn't supposed to happen, and Charles Dance's character is like, oh, the Pandora's box is open now, we can't just turn it off. And then the scientist woman, the mother, says that, oh, if I take it to, the stadium, we'll turn on there, and that'll stop the kaiju from, the Titans from doing their thing, and get Ghidorah away from where he's supposed to be. So the daughter actually hears that, and she goes and she starts doing that as well. Well, not as well, but she does that for them because Charles Dance's character is like, I don't want to do that. You're not taking my man. What's wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. The daughter starts doing this. She actually turns on the alpha signal, for Ghidorah, gets him to come to Boston, and Ghidorah starts destroying the stadium that they're at. Things seem grim. All of a sudden, a blue ray comes and just hits Ghidorah right in the chest and knocks him to the ground. Godzilla has gotten to Boston. And the daughter turns and looks, and here comes Godzilla, walking through the ocean as the military is behind him as well, because they want to join the fight as well. They're playing the Godzilla theme. It's just... See why I like this movie a lot? It's just awesome. Godzilla roars loud in the sky with his classic roar as well, okay? Not just he doesn't change his roar, but, he has the classic roar as well. It just sounds so awesome. And then they start fighting again. And as the fight is going on, Mothra out of nowhere, and she starts helping the fight as well against Ghidorah as well. It's awesome. As Mothra's doing her thing, Rodan shows up, and those two get in a big fight as Godzilla continues fighting Ghidorah, as Ghidorah's throwing him around, actually biting into an electric power grid and actually, feeding off of it, and then shooting, his Palpatine lights all over, and his lightning all over the place. Just looking awesome, knocking Godzilla to the ground. As Rodan and Mothra finish up their scrap, Rodan being stabbed through the chest by Mothra, seemingly dead, both of them. Godzilla and Ghidorah continue fighting, as Godzilla is knocked down, is in a lot of pain. But at this point, another callback to Godzilla vs. Destroyer, he now has absorbed too much nuclear energy. He's going to explode. So Mothra, with her remaining strength, actually goes over to Godzilla and tries to defend him, as Ghidorah kills Mothra. Yes, Mothra dies in this movie. And then her energy goes into Godzilla. Ghidorah tries to feed off of that like a snake, wrapping him up and then lifting him off into the air, high up into the sky, and dropping him from like the upper atmosphere. Godzilla actually, getting into re-entry speed, catching on fire and slamming into the ground, pretty much dead. Then Ghidorah tries to feed off him. Godzilla, gets stirred and wakes up. And then the mother actually, meets up with the father and the daughter. They actually get the orca working again, and they start leading Ghidorah away. Now the father and the daughter get into a helicopter to get away with other soldiers, as the mother sacrifices herself in a truck and starts leading Ghidorah away. You think she's going to get away. You hope that she gets away, but she doesn't. Ghidorah flips it over, and one last middle finger, she says, "Long live the king," as Godzilla gets up, but he is glowing red. Everything is melting around him, and he becomes, as I've read before, critical mass Godzilla. Others say burning, others say meltdown, others say atomic fury. Just, he's red. He's burning Godzilla, essentially. And then burning Godzilla, or atomic critical mass, whatever, starts shooting off shockwaves, just like he did in Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Yeah, burning away the wings, some of the heads, as Godzilla stands on top of a hurt Ghidorah, and this one last final explosion. There's rubble. All of a sudden, a Ghidorah head pops up. It's like, oh man, how did Ghidorah survive that? You just wait a sec, because Godzilla has it in his mouth, just the head and the neck. Godzilla actually gets up, starts shaking it around like a T-Rex, and then breathes fire and blasts that last head into nothing but ashes. Yes. After that is over, Godzilla is catching his breath as the new Titans show up. The Spider, the Mammoth, a new Muto, and Rodan. Rodan is still alive, and he actually bows to Godzilla. The others bow to him as well, as Godzilla stands, amongst his subjects. And then they give the line that, wow, I'm glad he's on our side. And then the young Asian woman says, for now. Like, okay, I see what you did there. As Godzilla stands on top of rubble and roars loud into the sky as the new king of the monsters. Well, he's not really the new king. He's always been the king, because King Ghidorah is actually a fraud. Ghidorah is a space monster, falling to Earth back then, over the centuries has battled Godzilla for dominance. And as Serizawa said, a false king, a false god, one of those two. But, yeah. And then the credits start playing. The new version of Go Go Godzilla starts playing as they start showing a bunch of, newspaper articles. One of them saying that they found another egg for Mothra. So if you're a huge Mothra fan, don't worry. They found another egg, so she can still be in the Monsterverse. The monsters are actually beginning to descend upon Skull Island. So there's that as well. So it's becoming a new monster island. Someone showed me that there's a new mechanized monster. What could that be? I don't know. Some not fan art, but there was a book that was released, The Art of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and in it was a giant spider, not the one in the movie, but a giant spider, Kamanga, a giant turtle, Gamera, and Gigan. So, yeah. And the last clip that I can remember is they showed a cave painting of Godzilla and Kong fighting. As the credits continue, we get all the way to the end, and a beautiful thing happens. They have a tribute to Haruo Nakajima. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And then the extra ending. Remember that head that that Godzilla ripped off of King Ghidorah and threw in the ocean? Well, a fisherman fished it out, and Charles Dance's eco-friendly eco-terrorists show up and they buy the head. So, a few things could happen from that. They could build Mecha King Ghidorah, which I don't know. I really don't know, because the film and the series doesn't have the technology to do that. But, you know, it's fantasy. I'm willing to accept it if they go in that direction. They could nurse it back to health and grow a new King Ghidorah, which would be cool. And some have speculated that they could actually, since the Ghidorah head was actually in the ocean when the oxygen destroyer went off, its cells could have mutated to where it would become Destroya. Yeah, that's not my idea. I was in a group chat the other night ago with a friend of mine. You know, they were playing a game. I forget what it was. It's a Tom Clancy game, I think. It was fun. They were having fun. You know, lots of fun going around. So that was his idea, and that was the movie. I think I gushed over this movie quite enough. It's my new favorite Godzilla movie. Doesn't mean that I dislike any other Gods. It means I'm not forsaking the other Godzilla movies at all. No, not at all. I'm not saying like, oh, that's old stuff. I don't care about that. No, those movies are on its own pedestal. Okay, this film I just happen to really like. It's not the I just got out of the movies. I just saw it. So I've got the after movie, you know, this is like the honeymoon sequence. No, this isn't the honeymoon, because I've seen other Godzilla films in the theaters and I really enjoyed them, but it's like, I could wait. This movie, I want to go, I'm ready to, you know, call an Uber, be like, take me to the movie theater right now. I need to go see this movie again. Okay, so that's the review. I really enjoyed it, loved it. If you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. It is an awesome movie. Godzilla fan or non-Godzilla fan, it is just so much fun and so awesome. Thank you very much for joining me. You all have a wonderful night. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm back, and I have a couple of reviews to do. I'm going to be reviewing this Godzilla 2019 from King of the Monsters. A very cheap but very satisfying figure. The other day ago, I finally got the NECA Godzilla 2019 King of the Monsters. I was finally able to settle something with Hobby Search, and I got the Yuji Sakai Battle in the Storm Godzilla 2002 from the film Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. I'm going to be uploading more Mortal Kombat. I'm going to be playing more Godzilla on PS4. So yeah, lots of stuff is going to be coming to the channel coming up. Hope you all enjoy it. And yeah, okay. Have a good night.